afternoon, California. Are we ready to win? I think so. I think it's more than time. Now, I have to say I was surprised when I was invited, and I said, you know, not every mayor of Oakland becomes the next governor. So, but I'm honored to be here to represent cities and the problems that we're having. As you know, I'm Quan. I'm the mayor of Oakland, one of the nation's greenest cities, and one of the nation's most diverse cities. And I personally think, other than the fact that we have the best weather in the country, one of the most beautiful cities. We're the home to 128 different languages spoken in our schools. And the great thing is that with those languages comes 128 different kinds of restaurants in what the New York Times calls the hottest eating scene in the East Bay. Some of you know my story. I am the first woman to be elected in the progressive city of Oakland in 158 years. Took a long time. I was also the first Chinese or Asian American, and I am the first Asian American of a major American city. And for some people, they don't quite, or Chinese American. Norman Netta clearly was before me. Some people, even including myself, have been surprised at what that's meant to the nation. Because of those of you who didn't take ethnic studies, which my husband and I helped found at UC Berkeley, you don't know about the Chinese Exclusion Act, and that this was a state that led the movement to outlaw immigrants from a particular country. People who had built the railroads, most of the levees that you passed on the way into Sacramento, the caves in Sacramento, the ways across up to Yosemite and the highways, that once they did that work, people wanted them to go, because otherwise California might look more like Hawaii today. So I feel and have been a long supporter of the farm workers, because if we ask people to labor for better lives for us, they should have the right to be citizens and to raise their children. I'm also the first mayor of a major American city to be elected by ranked choice voting, and you can ask me about that later. Some of you know me more just because I beat somebody who outspent us probably 10-1 by $2 million because I had 1,000 volunteers on the streets of Oakland. And I had said throughout the campaign that grassroots organizing can beat money. We did that against the Republicans last year. And sometimes even within our ranks, if you've got the money but you don't have the people and you're not organized, we still can't win. And that's a lesson for us for 2 years from now. As President Obama said about his own story, I feel like mine is a particularly very American story. I'm the daughter of a woman who, even though my family has been in here 5 generations, was the first woman in our family because of the Exclusion Act, and who was illiterate, both in English and Chinese, found herself widowed when I was 5. But because of the great school system that I grew up in, great teachers, at a time when California schools were among the best funded in the country, I could go pretty much to the University of California for almost nothing. And in fact, when the regents were mad at us for the Third World Strike and I got my scholarship taken away and I got the chance between sitting out the strike or not, I could say, wow, my tuition's like $400 a year. Give me a work-study job, because I'm not going to stop fighting for the rights of minority students at Berkeley. Today, students would have to think twice about that, because it's probably between $7,000 and $10,000. And that's probably one reason more than any other that I'm going to help the party follow John Burton's lead in organizing the grassroots to continue to organize, to continue to register new voters. And I want to tell you, I personally registered 1,000 people when I ran for city council 8 years ago, walking door to door. Think of how many new Democratic voters we could get if we did that everywhere in the state. Knocking on every door, encouraging those who don't speak English but have become citizens to vote, and to go to those households where the women said, yeah, we're citizens, but my husband votes for me, and explain to them, no, I need your vote too. You can do it by mail. You can even do it in Chinese. But to do that one by one, we could probably increase the voters for the party by 10%, and we could do that in the red counties in particular. So the reason I'm mobilizing is, quite frankly, the young woman who was here earlier stole my speech. I grew up in California where a poor daughter of an illiterate immigrant mom could become the mayor of Oakland. I want to make sure that that dream is there, because Oakland is a city on one hand that has the most educated workforce in the country, but that in deep East Oakland, African American young men, only 3 out of 10 of them graduate from high school. That is an inequality that has to end. We can't have a democracy. We can't have a California where some kids have no hope and others have so much. We have to end a California where the prisons get more money than our universities, where our teachers, and excuse me if I'm stepping on toes here, where our teachers are getting laid off and the prison guards got an increase. We have to build and rebuild our party on the principles of justice, and not just build to win, but to build for the future. As many people have said before, there is no peace without justice. There's no victory without equality. Let's get out there. Let's win in 2012. Let's elect more women, by the way. We had to step back in the assembly. More women and more diverse people at every level. And let's fight in every city, red or blue. Thank you very much.